Hey guys, Sando back with another Lost Ark video. As you know, the NA and EU release is approaching. It is time to look at all the classes that will be available on release and see how they stack up against each other. This tier list will compare all of the classes at their best possible versions. This means fully stacked with their engravings. Also, I want to point out that all the classes in Lost Ark are top tier when played by the right hands, as well as a great class being bad in the wrong hands. I will be ranking the Bard and Paladin in their own tier due to them being supports, and in the endgame, having a support is a staple. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Starting at the S tier, we have the Gun Lancer. Although you might think of the Gun Lancer as a tank, the Gun Lancer's damage output is just as good as a damage dealer. The Gun Lancer is a class that will always be wanted in parties due to the consistent damage output and utilities they bring to the party. High staggers, shields, buffs, debuffs, and that's not to say he can't solo, because he can. The Gun Lancer is the only class in the game that's got the whole kit and doesn't really have any downsides, except maybe his mobility, which is not that big of a deal, thus deserving the S tier. Let's go to the Berserker, which we'll place in the S tier as well. The Berserker we'll talk about is the Madness Berserker. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a recently reworked class engraving that is just insane. And I believe we will have this for the NA and EU release. Permanent Berserk mode while still receiving that extra attack speed, move speed, and damage. Your HP will be decreasing to 25% permanently. However, you take 65% less damage, meaning you can stick to green potions and get a full heal every time. It is unheard of. Berserker has insane damage numbers, and he's just a beast with the Madness build. Let's move on to the A tier. First on the A tier we have the War Dancer. The War Dancer is an easy class to play but hard to master due to having to know when to unleash your power skills and timing your buff window. Like the Gun Lancer, people like having War Dancers in their party because of the buffs and consistent damage they bring to the table. Based mostly on agility, she's also got crazy speeds and can move in and out of battle quite easily. Next on the A tier we have the Gunslinger. The Gunslinger is just a great range DPS overall. She's safe to play due to having her damage be focused on her sniper rifle. She's also built with tons of mobility skills and can play close range, mid-range or long-range battles, hitting any spot on the boss without hurting her damage output. Next on the A tier list is the Sorceress. The Sorceress is a magician with high damage numbers, high cast times that can significantly be reduced by using her identity and unleashing all her burst skills very quickly. Also built with lots of mobility, she can blink multiple times in a short span if trouble arises. Sorceress is an overall squishy class with high cast times and tons of damage, but does have the mobility and her identity to counter this. On to the Artillerist, which we'll place on the A tier. The Artillerist is among one of the tankiest characters due to his shields and damage reduction engraving. As well as putting out big numbers, it's all about predicting and landing your attacks as an Artillerist. Overall a very safe class, but at the same time difficult to master due to the stationary and prediction playstyle. Last on the A tier is the Shadow Hunter. The Shadow Hunter doesn't require much to shine. It is one, if not the cheapest class to play if you choose to go the demon form build, which is quite strong. She can also choose to go a build where she neglects the transform, and it's overall just as good too. There's no wrong going with a Shadow Hunter. It's a simple, flashy class with consistent damage. Let's go over to the B tier now. First let's talk about the Striker. The Striker is a high skill ceiling class that does have a lot of damage. However, his playstyle is just difficult as you have to constantly place yourself behind the boss to have the class really shine. Built with good mobility, just heavily reliant on back attacking. On to the Soul Fist, which is placed in the B tier as well. The Soul Fist is a close range battle mage type of fighter that uses her identity to buff herself and do crazy amount of damage. It is hard to play Soul Fist, due to the positioning during combat and also landing that insane awakening skill that takes years to cast. However, it is the strongest skill in the game by far, and landing this skill even once is enough to make a huge impact. Next on the B tier we have the Scrapper. The Scrapper is probably the most balanced class available in the game. She's not great, not terrible. Heavy field that will smash everything in her way and has you keep track of your skills to balance them out. Consistent damage but nothing over the top. And last on the B tier is the Deathblade. The Deathblade is a fast moving class with a bunch of charging skills. Going for either consistent damage build or a burst build that is quite good but hard to play, as it'll have you positioning yourself in different areas of the boss, as well as have you time your spells correctly. Overall, like the Scrapper, good damage but nothing over the top. Okay, let's go on to the C tier. First in line, let's talk about the Sharpshooter. The Sharpshooter has two main burst skills that can hit enemies from across the screen. They do take quite a long time to charge, and missing one of these skills will make you feel quite weak until they're back. He's got nice filler skills for damage, but is a squishy class overall. His damage output is not bad, however other classes can do more for less. And last for the C tier is the Deadeye. The Deadeye is a downgraded version of the Gunslinger. Instead of using a sniper rifle as the main damage output, he uses shotguns, meaning he's a mid close range class. He's a very squishy class that has to fight next to the boss during battles. That being said, he's a really hard class to master, and everyone who plays Deadeye either likes to play hard mode or wants to prove a point. Playing Deadeye at a high skill deserves respect. Alright guys, so like I said in the beginning of this video, this tier list is how the classes compare with each other, but it does not mean a Madness Berserker will always beat a Deadeye. Remember that the player behind the class is the real tier list. Classes in Lost Ark are pretty balanced and they'll all do great when played right. I also want to let you know that I'll be streaming Lost Ark almost daily before their release, so if you want to come check me out, ask me any questions, or just chill with me, I'll appreciate it guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a little thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.